Well, once I drove, first time I think I drove this way, came into it that way. But I've driven it usually backwards, starting at Compostela and going along. Because all along, a day's walk apart would be a medieval church or chapel.
Tell me how this show came to happen here.
Well, I'm not really sure. Catherine asked me over breakfast took me out for breakfast, which was kind of strange, and then asked me, and I said, no, I don't want a show. What do I want a show for? No. Because bronze casting to most people is, what's that? I don't see any art that is of other than painting and drawing or collage done by women in this gallery space. So I think I vindicated it, having it, just to show young women that little women can do something else if they wanted to. And I always wanted to, so I did it. So there must be women out there, young women out there, that are the nature that I am. I like to do what the boys did, I'm sorry. But I always worked with my hands, and, since 1939, I think it was. I went to art school only after the war because I could go to arts and crafts in Oakland on the GI Bill.
Oh, so you were in that, you mentioned you were in the Army, right? Or
in the Navy,
in
yeah.
the Navy.
Naval Reserve. There's me in uniform when I was younger. I had good rapport with the young fellows around 20, and when I was in my 40s working in foundry with them, I had my job. I had to build up, at that time we had to build up the big furnace over a base on wheels. I had a little Volkswagen, to roam around Europe all summer, 3 months. So I would go off and photograph some little unknown medieval church up there, or down there, Then I'd come back to the route, and they would be there. Hi, California,
So tell me how you and Raymond met, and how did you get connected?
Yes, because he had been a widower, and but he would always come out to the West to work on his sculpture. So he was living in this trailer over at the other house, and he didn't have it. He just had a hot plate, and I said, "Well, that guy needs some food." I wasn't thinking of anything. I wasn't plotting, and so I cooked a big pot of, California pink beans, which I grew up on. And Raymond just said one of our walks, he just said, "Well, I'd kind of like to spend the rest of my life with you." And I didn't say anything. And so I stopped to see my half-brother right up from Santa Barbara, that little town up there. And I said, "Irv, what do you think if I got married?" And he said, "About time."
How old were you at that point?
I was 43, I think.
Oh, first marriage.
Yeah. I didn't have time. I was living with a bunch of nuns. We married, and our first trip abroad was, we got an old VW bus in Amsterdam and with the kids in the 70s, and started roaming, and we ended up, this in southern France. And I thought, that must be a medieval structure of some sort. And, no, and he would always pose any doorway he saw, he would get in it, So then, you kind of, they had to be peopled. If you have doors and spaces, they seem to have to be peopled, and that's all. And then I get fascinated with the wonderful textures that I can get in the wax, and so I make use of it. Now this is smooth against this beautiful texture here. Now, I've worked into this. But there is, you can see it here, which, but anyway, you make use of any texture you have. I've been working in this space since we first moved here, really. Within a year, anyway, when we bought this, and neighbors and Raymond built this. I was feeling the woman's position of always being, she has to go into the kitchen after she's been in the studio. And see, this is a spoon. That's about all I can say. And this also is a ladle-like figure. And you notice there are two figures there. Apparently a man and a woman, and you see the woman's position. There was a well-known local artist, and I would try to interject an idea or something, and the other artist never listened to what I was saying. He was more involved with man-to-man, and I was just the little wife, you know. And Raymond noticed it, and he said later, you know, he didn't even listen to you. And I said, no, that's right. So that's, I guess, what these are about. My husband, he's gone now. He was killed in an automobile accident. He wasn't driving either.
Sorry, that sounds terrible.
Well, it was a change. I can say the least. So. Yeah, and the idea of steps going up, it's in a way a search. And when you get there, where do you go? Back down. Let's see if this is one. But I often have like rivers, and the boat is in there, and sometimes it's not going any place, or there's an obstacle in front of it. So that may be unconscious or slightly on the edge of consciousness some way, because the boat isn't going anywhere. It's going, but it's going to be stopped. And sometimes it's a waterfall that it's just going to go off. So where that comes from, whether it has to do with you know, being a woman artist who does run into complications at times by their work not being taken seriously.
What does the word pilgrimage mean to you?
Well, just the literal going from place to place, or from age to age in your own life, you know, different stages. It's in a sense a pilgrimage. Yeah, because you don't know where you're going when you start out, or when you're first conscious. Thought about what is life and where you're going and what are you going to do with it, that kind of thing. Yeah, of course it's all a pilgrimage. So there'll always be unfinished things, which is kind of hard. You want to finish them, but for some reason or other you can't. Is that it?